Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shawn Thomas here with Accelerators Organization, ready for another mentor session. Got some great questions and even have a first question from a new member that just joined up today. So let's get this thing started. Put on my eyeballs here. Oops. Where did we go? Okay. The first question comes from Belinda from Australia. She says, how would I go about bringing on coaches who I know have been trained to my level of expertise and satisfaction? Should I create my own coaching academy? If so, how do I start the process? The background is I run a small coaching business and I am keen to scale it by bringing on other coaches who are at least as good as me. I do not have the ability, time, nor inclination to train people to become coaches, yet I want my coaches to have standardized and measurability / process so they are effectively interchangeable with one another within my business. Okay, I've got 4 mentors answering this for you. The first thing that I would do if I were in your shoes is, as the individual master, head, lead coach, owner of the business, I would max out your schedule first. I would build up the appropriate processes where you know how to get new clients and continue to bring them in on an ongoing basis. I would then start to document all of my administrative processes in order to delegate those to an administrative person for my business to handle all of the administrative tasks that go along with client customer service and other processes in your business. I would then make sure that I am charging appropriately in order to be able to build in compensation for those additional coaches. You might charge one fee if you can provide the service, but if you're going to have another coach and pay them a percentage, you might need to increase your prices. I'd want to master all of that first and document all of those processes and really zero in on that client acquisition, the profitability, the project management of all of it. I'd want to really master that and max out my schedule. Because as part of that process, you're then going to be able to understand what's needed to take care of a larger base of clients and what those clients are looking for. Now, to answer your question more succinctly, if you already have all that done, which I don't think you do because we've talked, but when you have all that done, how would I go about bringing on coaches who I know have been trained to my level of expertise? Well, just like any worker that you're going to bring onto your company, you want to spell out exactly what their qualifications are, specifically in writing, what their role is going to be, title, role, duties, etc., all of the different things they're going to do on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis for your clients, what software they're going to use, how the meetings are handled internally, how the services are performed for your clients, all of those processes getting documented, which is why I say it's best for you to learn this and document it all for yourself. So then all you have to do is plug in a new coach and all the processes are already laid out. As far as your coaching academy, I don't think you're far enough along to create your own coaching academy, and because that's an entirely different and additional business to your coaching business, and that would really spread you out thin. My focus, if I were in your shoes, I'd want to drive revenue and get my business to where I just can't take on any new clients. And then I'd start figuring out what I would need to do to bring on more coaches. That's what I would do. Let's see what the other coaches say, because I know you a little bit better, so I can get a little deeper with that. The next question comes from Kat, and Kat says, how do I figure out what KPIs I should be monitoring for my position within my company. The background is I am head of accounts for a marketing agency and want to provide measurable goals for the growth of the company as well as myself. I've got about 10 different mentors answering this one for you. Basically, what KPIs or key performance indicators are basically things that you can gauge on a daily, a weekly, a monthly basis to determine whether or not you are reaching the milestones and goals that you've set for any position. Basically, I would take a look at all of the activities that you do in that role that you perform for the company, and what are things that are task oriented, in which you say, well, I can do this 10 times a day, I can do this 15 times a day, or if it's in sales type of thing, I might talk to this many, and I might have this many that convert, and I want to figure out what my conversion percentage is. So just think about what you do with your role, and if you were going to determine if you were successful in that role, what would happen? What activities, what revenue, what client engagements, how many phone calls or how many meetings, or, all of those types of things that are recurring that can be measured. Anything and everything that can be measured in your role that's pertinent to the success of your role could be considered a key performance indicator. Usually managers and business owners and C-level and leader management type roles, they will give these KPIs or KPI dashboard type things to their team members and say, I want you to be able to demonstratively measure these things on a daily basis to know that you are achieving your milestones and your goals. And so that's how I would think about it for your position. Okay. Hope that helps. I've got a bunch of other mentors answering this for you, and they might have better answers than me. The next question comes from Rowett, and Rowett says, how do I determine price per unit when shipping is involved? Any formula? ? I sell imported snacks and drinks. I recently made an order worth $530.39. It was 214 units altogether and $40 for shipping. Okay, I've got 4 different mentors answering this who might be able to answer this better than I am, but how do I determine price per unit when shipping is involved? Well, I don't know if I would look at this granularly for every specific type of shipment like this, because in this situation, your price per unit would basically be $530 divided by 214 is going to give you your number. You're talking basically about $2.50 or $2.20 per unit, right? Because that's the simple math on this one. But if you're shipping out 5 units and it's $20, you might want to just determine your cost for shipping as a percentage to your total orders per month. So you might say, well, my revenue this month was $5,000 and my shipping was, $500. And so my cost of shipping in my business is 10% of my gross sales. And I want to work on lowering that number or that is a good number. I don't know. But that's the way I would look at it. I don't know if I would look at it on a price per unit, but I'm going to have a couple other mentors that are in the product business that might be able to give you a better answer on how to manage that. Okay. But to answer your question, that's how you would determine price per unit is how much revenue you brought in, the shipping divided by how many units, and that would give you your price per unit. Okay. All right. The next question comes from Kim, and Kim says, what are some ideas I could implement to create more leads in the life insurance business? The background is, as an insurance agent selling life insurance, I was wondering if you know of any creative ways to search for prospects and leads. Of course, I have a referral system in place. I purchase leads and I network as much as I can, but just wondering if you might have any special sauce for finding leads that could benefit my agency. Okay, I've got 5 different mentors answering this for you. I have to tell you, I'm a little bit out of touch of knowing exactly any creative or special sauce type initiatives that could create more leads for you in the insurance industry these days. It sounds like you're doing a lot of things that you can do, but I do know that one of the things that Tom Black and I have talked about and worked with different real estate brokers and insurance agents over the years is to have as many centers of influence or spheres of influence that you can have. These are people that, like CPAs and accountants and other people, lawyers, doctors, dentists, people in the professional world that people might go to for advice. And so they might say, hey, who's your insurance agent? People that are out there in the community that network a lot already. And then if you build a great relationship with those people over time, they continue to send you leads. That's one thing to do, is develop centers of influence or spheres of influence. As far as any other secret sauce, the only thing I can think of is try to sell in some sort of group situations to where, if you're selling to a company that has 50 employees and you can do the insurance benefits for all 50 employees, then you have 50 different prospects and potential clients you're going to work with within one organization. And sometimes that can be a great thing. But I got to tell you, I'm a little bit out of touch with marketing for insurance these days. So even though I've sold insurance a long time ago, it was really tough. Same thing. I specialized in selling it to businesses, especially businesses with 10 plus employees. And I picked certain industries like professional industries, dentist office, doctor's office, small business owners. And I got book of lists in my local area. But that's about the best I could give you today. Okay, the next question comes from Lamont. And Lamont says, how much should I pay myself? The background is I provide point of sale systems and security cameras to businesses and homeowners. I've grown my business from being a side hustle to the point where it earns more money than my regular 9 to 5. And I am now transitioning into my business full time. Should I pay myself the same salary I was earning in my 9 to 5, pay myself a salary that is competitive to the position, IT support, in my industry locally, or pay myself a percentage of the profits I earn each year? Okay, I got about 10 or 11 mentors answering this one for you. This is a very subjective question. Here's the way I would answer it, and let's see how the other mentors answer it. If you know that you're used to bringing in $5,000 a month with your with your normal full-time job, and now you're quitting that full-time job and you're going to be doing your business full-time, if the cash flow permits for you to pay yourself a consistent salary without draining the cash flow of the business of $5,000 per month, then you might start with $5,000. But it's a very arbitrary number. The cool thing about being a business owner is we usually just pay ourselves what we need to survive in our personal life, at least in the very beginning, because the rest of the money we want going back into the business to grow the business. We might want to put that money towards advertising and marketing costs. We might want to put that cash flow and capital towards equipment. We might want to put that capital and cash flow towards new team members, whatever it might be. And as long as we're able to draw enough money out of the business to pay ourselves enough to support ourselves, pay our bills, maybe put a little away, but really that part doesn't really matter. It's more about having the money in the business, and just in case there is a rainy day, you could pull some out of the business. So that's a very arbitrary answer, but most startup small business owners will just pay themselves enough in the beginning to be able to pay their bills and not stress, and then the rest of the money goes back in the business. Okay, hope that helps, Lamont. The next question comes from Lamont, and Lamont says, what different bank accounts should I have for my business, and what is the purpose of each? Long background. Okay, I provide point of sale systems, security cameras, IPT service, and IT support to businesses and homeowners. I have 2 standard business accounts at 2 banks and a few personal bank accounts. In the early stage of my business, I use my personal account to cover business expenses, and I also receive payments from clients. I have since transitioned to making all business purchases on my business account, but still allow clients to send payments to my personal account for their convenience. It is becoming difficult to manage, and I see revenue from my business as both my business and personal accounts seem to be mixed. Do I need to clearly establish accounts like operations account, business bills and expenses, business savings account, profits, personal operations, my personal bills and expenses, personal savings, etc.? Okay, I got about 8 different mentors answering this. It sounds like you've read a book or a system called Profit First, which I know they do a lot of those different accounts. I never did that, and I don't know many people that do that unless they're following that Profit First system. So if you're following that profit first system, I just know it's there, but I don't know how to guide you. There's a book about it and all this. Just follow the book. I just believe in having one general business checking account. And you, whatever you're going to do on your personal side, at your personal side, but business checking account. All you really need is one. That's it. And then I would have a business credit card or two specifically for business expenses. I would completely separate your business and personal financially. Any clients that pay you for business sales should go to the business, not personally to the business. I know that's difficult sometimes for people that have like PayPal and things set up, but I would try to get it to where you set it up to where everything is separated. And when your clients pay you, they're paying the business. That's the best way to do that. That makes it easiest for taxes and accounting and things like that. So that's what I would do. That's what I would recommend. Okay. Hope that helps. And the last question comes from our newest member today, Desiree. Desiree, I put this in the Q&A here for a mentor session, even though you use the contact concierge button. Really, you wanted to use the ask a question button for something like this, okay? So this question is from Desiree, and Desiree says, hi, can you please give me some pointers or strategies on how to set quarterly and yearly financial goals for a small e-commerce and wellness/holistic coaching business restarting out? The background is my habit is going too big and then fading. Maybe the best way to ask this question is to say, looking back when you first started your business, how did you set your business and life goals? I've got about 6 different mentors answering this for you. And I'm also going to email you a PDF book that I have that's 95% complete. I still have to put a workbook together for it, but it's called The Goal Mindset. I'm sure you've heard of SMART goals. I believe in the portal, in the resource center, there is a section, a category called goal setting. In fact, let's look it up right now. And that way I don't have to guess. It's been so long since I looked at this, but let's just look right now. All right, let's do that. And then I'll be able to tell you if it's true. Oh, my phone just died on me. That just was really great. Way to go, Shawn. But anyway, I think it's in there. If it's not, I'm going to add some more information to it, but I'm also going to put my goal mindset book in there, and that'll get into the portal tomorrow, and I'll email it to you today. But basically, if you just research SMART goals, there's a ton of it out there on the internet. I know it's in the resource center, but there's a book called the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which you might want to purchase on Amazon, whether you want to Audible or the book or PDF, Kindle, whatever. I think it's number 2 of the 7. I can't remember, but there's one of the 7 is start with the end in mind. A lot of people, and actually if you go through the mobile application in the general news feed, search the general news feed by images, and you're going to see a post that I did that talks about the big steps. Like people set these big goals, but then it's the steps backward. If we focus on the big goal, a lot of times we do get lost because we don't know what to do to get there. So we have to break it down into little goals and then just keep achieving those little goals, and that helps us get to the big goal. One of the most common mistakes that people make as it relates to goal setting is they don't write it down and they don't track it. Most people say that they've heard of SMART goals, but then they don't know how to set goals because they don't even follow the SMART goal methodology of specific, measurable, actionable/attainable. I always forget the R. Realistic, and then time-based. So if you just follow the acronym of SMART goals, and then you take your big goal into the mind and then break it down into small steps to get there, and then you measure it, the M of SMART, you can't help but reach your goal at some point. And depending on the goal and how large it is, will tell you, how long it's going to take to get there. And that's part of the T, the timeliness, or the timing of it. So that's what I say as it relates to SMART goals, is to break it down into little goals that are achievable in a day, in a week, in a month, in a quarter, measure it each quarter, and then annually, and then just track the progress. And one of the things that is really cool about that is Progress is success, not reaching an end goal. If we get into the habit of progressing, most people feel more successful when they measure that they are progressing than just reaching a certain goal. Because if you only measured your success by a certain goal, what happens when you achieve it? Do you just die and say, I reached my goal, I'm dead, put me in the grave? No. We're going to feel great because we set new goals and we start measuring those. So it's really about the journey to feel successful than it is the actual achievement of a specific goal that you set. Okay. I'm going to email you that book today when my phone charges back up. And I hope that answers your question. And I hope that's it. That's all the questions today. I will see you guys tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on the weekly Zoom. And then next week is going to be at 7 o'clock p.m. So put those in your calendars. All right. Hope you guys have a great day, morning or night, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you soon. Peace out.